echoes of proper English gentlemen and barnstorming New World pioneers and 4 French musketeers. Links to a tradition undeniably charming, though it exists really only to serve itself. And someday the newcomers will ask, who was Graf? What was she like? Why did they call her Fräulein Forehand? Did it really take Capriati all those years to first win Wimbledon? Wasn't she great right from the beginning? They play the game right here in the moment, but the ones with the awareness to become champion know that each stroke adds to a new chapter. Every step and slip across the grass court builds toward the resolution of a lifetime's dreams. And now, more champions in the making, more memories to be captured, more brushstrokes for the mural on day 3 at Wimbledon. Number 2, 9th-seeded Richard Krajicek, an outsider to win the championship against his countryman Jaakko Elting. A lot of people believe Elting could pull the upset there. And Arantxa Sanchez Vicario against Larisa Neiland of Latvia. They've played 3 times, and Sanchez Vicario has won them all. As we mentioned, court number 1 begins today with Andre Agassi against João Cunha Silva of Brazil. We'll be taking you there momentarily. And Jennifer Capriati is on court number 1 against Liz Smylie of Australia. Liz Smylie is one of only 2 active mothers on the WTA Tour. Sandon Stali of Australia, son of the great Fred Stali, goes against 6th-seeded Michael Stich. Stich looked spectacular on day 1, in case you didn't catch it here. Over on center court, Steffi Graf, who played brilliantly yesterday, is on center court for a 2nd consecutive day against Clare Wood of Great Britain, whose first-round win here will probably put her in the top 100 for the first time in her career. Then Pete Sampras against the Australian Jamie Morgan. Morgan was brilliant at Queen's Club, beat Stefan Edberg. Sampras could be in trouble in that match if he's not at his best. Boris Becker played well on center court yesterday against his countryman Mark Gulner. Today plays the tough Russian Alexander Volkov. And in a minute, we're going to go over to court number 1. Is playing for the 2nd consecutive day, this time against Englishwoman Clare Wood, who was born in Zululand, but now lives in Brighton. And Graf is 2 points away from closing out the first set.
30 love.
At this point now, up 5-2 and 30 love as we arrive at center court. Now make it 40 love, triple set point. Steffi looked terrific yesterday, John.
Yeah, she looked very sharp. Good match for her today because she should beat Clare Wood pretty comfortably, and it'll give her another match to get into the championships and start getting prepared for her tougher matches ahead.
Well, I was jumping 1 point ahead of us here. Make it 40 love and set point at this moment.
Game plus set this Graf. 6 games to 2.
Preparation. And Steffi Graf cruises past Clare Wood in the first set, 6-2. We'll keep you posted on the progress of that one. Of Agassi and Cunha Silva. But some of the biggest news this morning here at Wimbledon has to do with the announcement by tournament referee Alan Mills of 3 code violations and fines. The first for German Patrick Kunin, $500. And each of the 3 violations had to do with the use of the most vulgar of common vulgar terms. The second one was against American tennis's most famous younger brother, Patrick McEnroe, who lost in straight sets to Englishman Chris Bailey, and this morning received a $1,000 fine. If you want to turn down the sound because you have children in the room, you know the word that McEnroe used with chair umpire Mike Rice in protesting some of the line calls and other rulings in his match against Bailey.
Come on!
15 love.
You can just sit there now.
The ball.
Are you kidding? Look at this. The ball was this far out. No way. You're so fucking wrong. You know that? You're kidding me, right? You can overrule that. This one's clearly out. That was way out. Terrible. You know that? You want to please all the fans? Is that it?
So at least in that instance, Patrick follows in the family tradition, not just in the case of using the drop volley. There's a look at the serve on which Patrick was protesting the line call, and it appears that he was right. The ball was out. That's not the issue in the eyes of the tournament referee, Alan Mills, or the Men's Tennis Council, and the fine, 4 figures this morning for Patrick McEnroe. Now, the third code violation brought a $1,500 fine against Dutchman Paul Haarhuis, who had a comment for chair umpire Mike Morrissey at the end of his 5-set loss to Michael Chang. This summing up Haarhuis's feelings on that match. This was the final point of Haarhuis-Chang, a match which was continued yesterday after having been suspended by darkness on Monday. And you heard there Haarhuis's evaluation of exactly what kind of a job Morrissey had done in chairing the matches. John Lloyd, for better or for worse, the word in question here is increasingly cornered the realm in Western society. On just a few stories around the grounds, we told you yesterday that Women's Tennis Association President Pam Shriver had been allowed by the tournament committee to drop out of the women's singles competition because of a stress fracture in her fibula. Now it turns out that the tournament committee sees it as okay for Shriver to decide to remain in the doubles competition with her partner Liz Smylie of Australia. A little bit of a doubles standard, we call it. Not healthy enough to play in singles, healthy enough to play in doubles. Only Pam knows for sure exactly how she feels. Meanwhile, we turn our attention to the story of Steffi Graf. If you were here with us yesterday to watch her match on center court, you may recall the incident early in the match when Steffi went to the chair umpire, as it turned out, to complain about a fan who was heckling her from one of the rows near the court, apparently giving her some gaff about her passive role in the incident in which Monica Seles was stabbed, and Graf ultimately rose to the #1 spot in the rankings ahead of Seles. Here now is a look back at that.
2 months ago in Germany, Monica Seles was stabbed. Last month, the abusive, disturbed father of a rising star, Mary Pierce, was thrown out of the French Open and banned from tournaments for the rest of the year. And yesterday at Wimbledon, a man described as a heckler, but really more of a stalker, was ejected and banned from this tournament. He heckled Steffi Graf, accusing her of responsibility for the Seles incident. It turned out that he is the same fellow who once was arrested for sleeping in a car outside her house for 5 days. Could anyone blame Steffi for thinking, if a fan stabbed Monica to make me #1, couldn't another fan stab me to make someone else #1? The #1 player has always been a target on the court. Now she's becoming a target off the court as well. And tennis, understandably, is becoming increasingly jumpy about it.
And because Graf won Love and Love yesterday, there was little discussion of tennis in her post-match news conference. The first 12 questions were about the heckler. Today, Steffi Graf, in the wake of her match with Clare Wood, didn't want to talk about it, as you'll see from this takeout from her press interview.
I don't really want to talk about this incident because I don't take it very serious. I mean,
You say that, but yesterday you calmly walked to the practice courts with a partner. Today you had 8 guards around you.
No, I didn't have 8 guards. I had two persons with me, and that's something the officials did because they thought it was necessary. It's nothing that I.
Did you not request it yourself? Sorry, Steffi really doesn't want it.
It doesn't matter. Why should it matter? Doesn't matter.
Historically, few players get as testy when pressed about off-court issues as Steffi, though, to be totally honest, she's considerably more graceful on those occasions now than was the case 2 or 3 years ago. Obviously, the tabloids here will be writing this up big, and will follow Steffi's progress in trying to control all the speculation as the days go by. Now, earlier we took you to center court to see Steffi closing out the first set against Clare Wood of England. Let's look back a little bit right now at how that match ended up. We're going to take you back to the second set of Graf against Clare Wood, again on center court. And by now, after Graf has taken the first set 6-2, it is 5-1 Graf in the second set, and Clare Wood prepares to serve in what could be the last game of the match.
Well, what a forehand there from Steffi Graf.
Love 15.
I think she shortened the backswing a little bit in the last couple of years, John.
Yes, I think she has. She really steps in well on this one and gives it a good crack cross court. She's very confident.
Clare Wood is the daughter of a clergyman in the Church of England, and the stale joke that made the rounds this morning was, of course, that she would need a good deal of prayer in this match.
Love 30.
She's a good little player, Clare Wood. Pretty compact, you know, hits the ball nicely, but not in the same class as Steffi Graf.
But then again, who is?
Exactly.
Clare Wood has been playing in major championships going back all the way to 1985 and has never made it past the third round. And among Steffi's many talents, John, few women players have ever been more dangerous with the overhead.
No, she's very solid on that shot. It was a good last point there. Steffi Graf moving exceptionally well. Clare Wood's having fun out here. She's enjoying herself out on the centre court.
First service.
Didn't time that one too well.
15-40.
I think I jinxed her on the overhead, huh?
And she was in a bit of a rush to get to the locker room, I think.
Game, set, a match, Miss Graf.
An ignominious way to end your day in the sun on center court against Steffi Graf. But Graf dispatches Clare Wood 6-2, 6-1. And looking ahead to the future for Steffi, her next match in round 3 will be against Hurricane Helen Kellacy of Canada, a bouncy, fiery player who was once regarded as a terrific prospect, but has not been able in recent years to fulfill what was seen as her great potential. Could be some interesting slide of information on these scores from other matches. Couple of qualifiers. Patrick Rafter of Australia knocks out Todd Nelson of the United States in straight sets. 2 former University of Florida players, including the reigning NCAA champion, 2-time champ, Lisa Raymond, knocks out Nicole Arantxa. Sandra Wasserman of Belgium, a loser to another former 2-time NCAA champ, Patty Fendick of Stanford, 6-1 and 6-3. Robin White of the United States is headed home, getting ready for team tennis, knocked out by Yayuk Basuki of Indonesia today. And Brenda Schultz of the Netherlands, one of the biggest servers among the women, beat Chanda Rubin of the USA in 3 sets. Rubin, you'll recall, took a set from Jennifer Capriati on court 2 here last year. Now in the next round, Schultz will be the opponent for Capriati if Jennifer can win today. And another match between 2 Americans, another Stanford alumna, Meredith McGrath, is a winner over Ann Grossman in 3 sets, 6-4, 1-6, 6-3. A good overhead look At the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet, University of Southern California defeated Paul Kildare of Australia in straight sets, 7-5, 6-love, 6-3. Andrew Foster of Great Britain, a particular favorite of our John Lloyd, knocks out Luis Herrera of Mexico in straight sets, 6-4, 6-3, and 6-4. A lot of people thought that David Prinisil of Germany, the doubles partner of young Mark Gullner, whom you saw yesterday, would have a chance to beat Henri Leconte today. But Leconte, with very little practice, very little preparation, once again showing all of his wily, crafty skills, knocks Prinisil out in straight sets, 4-4 and 4. Elena Brukovets of the Ukraine is an upset winner over Nicole Provis of Australia, 7-5 and 6-4. Rachel McQuillan of Australia knocked out by Helen Kelsey of Canada, and we've told you that Hurricane Helen is next on the docket for Steffi Graf, as Graf tries to campaign for a 5th championship in 6 years. Arantxa Sanchez Vicario has never won Wimbledon, but won the French Open in 1989. She's risen now to her highest ranking ever at number 3, her highest seed ever at Wimbledon, number 3. And as we go to court number 2 now, we're going to pick up Sanchez Vicario as she begins her match against Larisa Neiland of Latvia. They're going into the tiebreak at the end of the first set. Career tiebreak record there for Sanchez Vicario and for the veteran Neiland. Arantxa starts it off.
With Sanchez Vicario.
Well, Arantxa doesn't really have a grass court style game, John, but because of her irrepressible energy and the variety of shots she can produce, she's dangerous anyway.
Yeah, she reminds me of the little bit of Michael Chang in the men's game. She runs down every ball, good strong player, very quick, doesn't have the real grass court weapons.
Larisa Neiland has wins this year over both Lori McNeil and Jana Novotná. So she's not to be trifled with.
Good strong volley here, comes in on the serve, pushes the volley away there, good punch. Sanchez Vicario, though, too high with the return of serve.
With Sanchez Vicario. Miss Sanchez Vicario.
Arantxa jumping to the 3-1 advantage. Court 2, the jinx or upset court, scene of some spectacularly dramatic tiebreak action over the years, the most recent of which was the 4th set tiebreak yesterday between Ivanisevic and Starr.
First set. Miss Sanchez Vicario.
In case you're wondering how Larisa Neiland could have played 81 tiebreaks in her career without your knowing for sure who she is the former Larisa Savchenko. Originally from the Ukraine, now living in Latvia, a winner over her career of 42 different doubles titles. And a one-time singles quarterfinalist at the United States Open. They're 3 apiece as they change over in the tiebreak.
Larisa Neiland has not had a great record in Grand Slam tournaments. The quarterfinals at the US Open was the best, but not an exceptional singles player, but very solid, very, very good in doubles.
That quarterfinal run at the US Open was 5 years ago, 1988.
4-3, Mrs. Neiland.
Unforced errors there. Larisa, Neiland, 18, compared with Sanchez, Vicario, 9.
Arantxa is a very steady player.
Very steady. Very solid ground stroker.
Here is a Sanchez Vicario specialty, the drop volley from well back of the service line.
Yeah, this is her favorite shot, just like she hits on clay, but then on the grass there, it doesn't bounce up after she hits it. Good tactic from her.
We've seen her do it from the baseline in years past here, John Lloyd. There's another one.
2 in a row.
Takes a ton of confidence to pull that shot off repeatedly, as Sanchez Vicario does. It's a good way to dry your hands. Use the whole court, they tell you, right?
Why not?
Come on, let's do it. 5-all.
5-all in the tiebreak.
Looking for an out call there. Didn't get one.
Go!
Well,
6-5.
It was a bad error there. Didn't watch the ball there, took her eye off it, snatched it into the net. 9 of 16 points at the net from Sanchez Vicario, 27 of 44 from Neiland.
Dramatic difference in style of play. And of course, most experts would say that Arantxa would never have a chance to win Wimbledon unless she decides to come to net a great deal more than that.
Game first set for Sanchez Vicario.
So Arantxa controls the tiebreaker and takes the first set 7-6 over Larisa, Savchenko, Neiland.
All right, Jim, the number 7 seed, Jennifer Capriati, out here on court number 1, going against Liz Smylie from Sydney, Australia. Smylie in the near court. An excellent shot by Smylie.
Deuce.
It's deuce.
Well, Smylie has got a huge forehand, usually, Barry, and a very nice backhand. She can either hit it flat, like that one, or she can chip it.
Capriati serving at deuce. And now a chance for Smylie. Liz Smylie, of course, the 1991 Wimbledon mixed doubles champion out here with John Fitzgerald, and so she knows how to serve and volley.
She does.
So a chance now for Liz Smylie to break serve against Capriati. Net cord. There it is. A service break in the very first game out here on court number 1. And so back to center with you, Jim. Liz Smylie, 30 years old, from Sydney, Australia, and Liz is giving her everything she can handle. Love 40, triple break point against Capriati.
15-40.
Smylie just hitting over the baseline, and Billy, Smylie has looked very, very at ease out here so far.
Well, she loves grass. She's got a chip backhand or a flat backhand.
There's that slice backhand.
Game to Smylie.
Smylie. And so Liz Smylie breaks the serve of Jennifer Capriati out here on court number 1. She is cruising and playing
4 games to 3.
extremely well. All right, Jim, back to you.
And we're going to take a look back in just a moment at match point in Graf's match today. She, like Sampras, played for a second consecutive day. A brilliant performance, overpowering on center court yesterday. Today it was once again the same story. Steffi showed no ill effects from the foot injury that supposedly bothered her coming in, and no ill effects from the incident yesterday in which she asked the chair umpire about a heckler who was bothering her from the front row on center court. The heckler was removed 14 minutes later. The man is now identified as someone who has been stalking Steffi in the past. Here's a look back at Clare Wood against Steffi Graf on center court. In an obvious mismatch, Wood said jokingly yesterday, John Lloyd, that she hoped Steffi wouldn't be too nervous about this matchup.
Yeah. Game, set, and match.
The double vault at match point by the Englishwoman Wood. Graf with another landslide on center court. She moves forward into the third round of the tournament. Steffi Graf, of course, became the #1 ranked woman in the world again, partially as the result of the fact that Monica Seles has been sidelined by the injury she incurred when she was stabbed by a fan in Hamburg, Germany, who openly stated afterward that he wanted Graf to rank #1 again, and that's why he jumped onto the court and stabbed Monica Seles. And Seles, of course, is not here. For more on the most mysterious and, in recent years, the most overpowering woman in women's tennis, here's our Larry Merchant with a Wimbledon report.
In this, the 100th anniversary of women's tennis at Wimbledon, the best women player in the world isn't here. And fans are reminded of Monica Seles' absence every time they see other players sitting in a new position on service breaks to discourage the sort of knifing attack that sidelined her. Given the circumstance of her injury, many of these fans wonder why she wasn't allowed to retain her #1 ranking. Jerry Smith of the Women's Tennis Association explained it.
During the Hamburg tournament, after the incident occurred, we decided that it wouldn't be fair to treat it as a normal default because of the tragic circumstances surrounding it. So we gave Monica her average, which was about 332 points. If we had treated it normally, she would have received roughly 60 points. So there we really did provide her some protection, at least initially. And we thought that that was sufficient given the circumstances surrounding the incident. Following that, we received a request to take another look at it. And I went to the players, spoke to 17 of the top 25 players. We had 2 open player meetings, one in Rome and one in Berlin, in which we debated whether or not a further adjustment was appropriate. And the overwhelming point of view from the players was that no further adjustment should be made. The rest of the players have to be considered in this matter. And while it's unfortunate, and I think it's somewhat bittersweet that Steffi became #1 as a result of this incident, or possibly as a result of this incident, nevertheless, we are a sport. We are trying to measure results on the court. We did provide some protection for Monica, and I think we handled it pretty well.
So not only have we been deprived of a magnificent and colorful athlete, but the nutball who stabbed her actually got his wish. Steffi Graf is now #1, which even seems to embarrass her.
John Lloyd, your thoughts. Who's #1 in women's tennis by all rights, Steffi or Monica?
Oh, that's a tough one. I still think of Monica Seles as being #1. Steffi Graf won the French, obviously, by default. It's going to be tough, but I think if Monica Seles can get back out off this injury, she'll prove that she's still the #1 player in the world by winning the tournaments, because she is the best player, really.
But did the WTA do the right thing in refusing to protect Monica's ranking, to, in effect, isolate her as the #1 while she's out with the injury?
No, I don't think so. I mean, how long can it go on for? I think they just have to go on and take each week as it is and just let the results occur.
If, in fact, a healthy Monica Seles had been here to compete among a healthy Steffi Graf and a healthy Martina Navratilova, would you still have picked Steffi to win the tournament?
Yes, I would. I would still pick Steffi on grass, although I think this year Monica Seles would have had a very good shot at it. It's a pity she's not here, but my pick would still have been Graf.
All right. Do you think Jennifer Capriati is going to win Wimbledon sometime?
I think she has a shot. Yes, I do.
All right. Well, her shot looks less and less good this year as she's been struggling in the first set against Liz Smylie of Australia. Let's take you back to court #1 now with Barry and Billie Jean to pick up 17-year-old.
With Peter McNamara.
That makes 10.
So we're up to 10, and, you know, the count goes on.
That's 2 NBA teams. So Liz Smylie now, ready to serve, trying to win the first set out here on court #1 against the #7 seed, Jennifer Capriati.
Love 15.
You think Smylie, when she gets close, Billy, to closing out either a set or a match, has some problems?
She'll have trouble. Smylie doesn't like to be in that position where she has to finish. It'll all get down to her nerves, and if you can rush her on her backhand, she can only chip it. Oh! And she has a very suspect service motion. There's Peter Smylie, Liz's husband and father of Laura Elizabeth, the precious child.
Oh, Smylie lunging a little bit at that forehand. Catches the tape. It's love 30. A big chance for Capriati out here on court number 1.
Well, Liz has to go for her forehand. That's just the way she plays. It's a high-risk shot. Hits it very flat.
Smylie, born in Perth, Australia, now living in Sydney. Capriati.
Liz thought the Capriati shot was long.
Yeah, it looked long as it left the racket.
Long.
Yeah. And so big chances now for Capriati. Triple break point. There goes one.
15-40.
Jennifer with that big swing on the return, Billy, off the forehand.
Well, yesterday she went 3 sets with Shirley Ann Siddall of Great Britain. The first set went to Shirley Ann 7-6, 7-5 in the tiebreaker. And then Capriati woke up and won the next 2 sets 6-2, 6-1.
And she gets jammed. Capriati trying to go around and hit the forehand return, catches it right on her hip, and so Smylie saves 2 break points, 30-40. And it's short. Smylie puts the overhead away.
Yes. Hanging in there, but taking advantage of this short reply on the service return. And Capriati couldn't really get up over Smylie on that overhead. Excellent play from Liz Smylie. Good serve and volleyer.
Nice approach shot.
Very nice. Has good sense on grass.
And Smylie, 4 straight points from love 40 down.
Well, this is the shot that she can punish when it's going in. That's what happens. You don't even get to touch it.
So Liz Smylie now at set point.
Also, Liz is hard to get any rhythm against because she chips her backhand so much and hits her forehand so hard.
Juice.
The slice, not quite enough.
Advantage, Mrs. Smylie.
Capriati catches the tape, and so once again, Liz Smylie with a chance to close out the first set here on court number 1.
First service.
And a double fault. And Billy, you're so right. She has trouble closing, as you say.
She has trouble on her second serve as well if she's feeling any pressure. She's got a funny little hitch in the back of her serve. Watch her elbow dip right there.
And another mistake off the forehand.
Capriati.
And so a chance for Capriati to even things up out here on court number 1 at 5-all. Looks like pretty good concentration to me from Capriati.
Deuce.
Gets caught on the forehand, a little bit slow.
Slow, she's lethargic. Her intensity is below par.
Second serve for Smylie here. And again, that solid forehand, Billy. She really hits it flat.
Yeah, especially when she hits to Jennifer's forehand.
Advantage,
she
Mrs.
seems
Smylie.
to be very effective. Jennifer's slow going to her right.
Very noticeable, not just on the return of serve, but in a rally situation. And so once again now, Liz Smylie has a chance for the first set.
There it is again.
And so Liz Smylie with the solid forehand has the first set over here on court number 1. We will be following this match very closely. Back to you, Jim, for some scores.
All right, thanks very much, Barry McKay. Let's take a look at scores from other matches on court 13. Jakob Plasek, the Swiss veteran, who once ranked as high as 7th in the world, beat Mark Petchey of Great Britain. He's in line for a potential match in the next round with Boris Becker, if Becker can get past Alexander Volkov today. American veteran Derek Restano. A lot of people have expected for years that he'd make a big run here sometime. Hasn't done it yet, but beat Marcus Andrusko of South Africa today in 5 sets. Restano plays a lot of 5-set matches. Jared Palmer of Stanford University in the United States is knocked out by Andrei Olhovsky. You'll remember Olhovsky knocked off Jim Courier last year when Courier was seeded number 1 here. He's in line for another match with the number 1 seeded player this year. He could get that far and face Pete Sampras. He's in that part of the draw. Christa van Rensburg of South Africa, player who knows how to play on grass, beat Miles McLagan of Great Britain in 4 sets. And on the women's side, Pascal Paradis-Mangon of France is the winner over Katarina Krupov of the Czech Republic. Bagel. And Stefan Simeon of France is knocked out by Laurence Tillemann of Italy. Tillemann the winner in 4 sets. So let's go to court number 2 now. We've called it every day, and we always will, the famed upset.
Player like Sanchez Vicario, and her new coach, Carlos Kurmeyer, is trying to get her to come to the net a lot more, but it's tough when they don't do that for the rest of the year. You come in for one tournament where you really do have to come into the net, and it's tough to get them out of their old habits.
Kiermaier is the man who previously worked wonders for a while with Gabriela Sabatini of Argentina and got her to within a couple of points of the Wimbledon title here in 1991.
Well, I think he's helped her game this year. She's had a very good year, but was very disappointing in the French Open. She lost in the semi-finals there to Mary Jo Fernandez, and a lot of people thought that she was going to win that crown from Steffi Graf.
Just to show you how much pride Arantxa has in her game, despite the fact she's not a grass court player, she was miffed at not being seeded number 2 here. There she comes to the net.
Yeah, but she had no choice. She had no choice.
30 love.
Here she comes with the second serve. Look how far back she is again. It's a good forehand, though. Larisa Neiland hits a miss-hit short. Sanchez Vicario comes in only because she's forced to.
Well, she'll get credit on the Bill Jacobson CompuTennis graphic for coming to net anyway, regardless of whether it was her choice.
I don't count that one.
You'll have to argue with Bill.
Whoa.
Great recovery there because that second serve was very, very short. Look how short that second serve is. Larisa Neiland, a great approach shot, wonderful backhand cross court.
What would you say is Arantxa's biggest strength as a player?
Well, just the way she retrieves, her speed and a very good forehand. She's just such a good hustler.
Larisa hustles down that one to avoid being knocked out.
Good forehand.
Still double match point.
She's very strong mentally, Sanchez Vicario. She never ever gives up. That's that's the main strength. She's a pure and utter fighter.
And there it is. Arantxa Sanchez Vicario with an easy conquest of Larisa Neiland on court number 2. No upset today there. And Sanchez Vicario moves forward in the draw, where her next opponent is the former Stanford star and NCAA women's singles champion, Patty Fendick. And that, because of Fendick's style, could be a very tough matchup for Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. Now let's take a look at Henri Leconte, always one of the most entertaining players.
She meant it. Boy, that fault looked like Buster Matrin's years ago when he hit the serve into the royal box on the fly.
She really did miss it. Double set point. And Capriati.
40-30.
I don't understand why she's looping her forehand so much. She doesn't usually loop it that much, Barry. She usually hits it flat.
Still set point. Hits it off the throat of the racket, and Capriati is leveled. It's a set apiece. We'll have more of this match. Over to you, Jim.
Wimbledon Sport.
Sampras of the United States, who got a surprisingly easy straight set win over Jamie Morgan of Australia on center court, 6-4, 7-6, and 6-4. And in another match, Richard Krajicek of Holland looked at least as impressive as Sampras and as impressive as Michael Stich did on opening day here with his surprisingly easy straight set win over his countryman Jaco Elting, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 on court number 2. 11-seeded Petr Korda of the Czech Republic beat the canny American veteran Brad Gilbert, giving up the first set, but coming back 6-3, 6-3, and 6-2. Aaron Krickstein of the United States got a satisfying win over 14th-seeded American Maleeva Washington. Washington becomes the 3rd-seeded male to go out of the tournament, and Krickstein goes on toward a match with the wily French veteran Henri Leconte. Andre Agassi, who had a little bit of trouble in the early game year just before these competitions. And here to tell us more about it is our own Chris Collinsworth at your service.
Each year HBO tries to take you behind the scenes. We interview the players, break down their game, analyze their every move. But if you want to gain some real insights into the greatest players in the world, you have to go to Eastbourne. Come on, I'll show you what I mean. Eastbourne is a resort community located 2 hours south of Wimbledon. Each year, millions of people will come here to enjoy a day at the beach and stroll down the boardwalk. It's also the site of the oldest lawn tennis club in the world, Devonshire Park. The women's tour makes an annual stop here before going on to Wimbledon. While most fans can't remember who wins this tournament, the players always remember the entertainment. Each year, a few players put on a skit, a spoof of the other players, and for the past 4 years, the role of lead actress, writer, and director has fallen on one of the more popular players on tour, Elise Bergen.
Players retire and move on, so a lot of the players that did it originally had retired, so the last several years, I got stuck doing the script.
And she's been sticking it to the other players ever since, but everyone seems to love it.
Come down now. Good.
It's funny. I'm usually in it one way or the other. So, you know, we all laugh at it. I mean, if you can't laugh at yourself, then you're in trouble. And I've laughed as hard as anybody out there. In fact, I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
Now pay attention, because I'm welcoming you to the year 2008.
The theme of this year's show was Back to the Future, a look at where today's stars might be in a few years.
I decided to make it 15 years beyond, and then you could do anything. And so you had Martina, and Martina, well, what's perfect for Martina? She's still playing.
Oh my, who could this be? It looks like someone jogging in my direction. Goodness gracious, it's Martina! Martina! Martina, don't tell me you're participating in the event this week.
Of course I am. I'm only 51 years old now, and I'm feeling as fit as a fiddle.
And as always, one of the favorite subjects for the show is the latest gossip on who's dating whom on the tour. The unlucky couple chosen for this year's show was David Wheaton and Mary Jo Fernandez.
Can you believe he's still wearing that
Pam Shriver couldn't be too thrilled with how Ilie saw her life 15 years from now.
To think I could be living in the palace. Instead, I've got my 4th kid in the oven, and I'm living with a 5'2" plumber in Baltimore.
When the show was over and the laughter had finally subsided, there was only one question left on everyone's mind. Was Pam Shriver really dating a plumber?
Not yet, but I'm sure there's a 5'2" one out there somewhere that I can find.
All in all, the show was a huge success. Everybody had a good time and no one got upset. After all, it was just a little fun amongst friends.
It is an individual sport, but we've known each other for years, and that's part of it. If you've been playing the tour for several years, you all know each other and you play each other, and you've got to be friends, or else you have no friends. So, just you try to make them laugh. So it was fun.
Both of our veterans, Barry McKay and Billie Jean King, say that the atmosphere among women's tennis players is considerably friendlier, more collegial, more like a traveling sorority than is the case for the men.
5-2.
love.
3 points away. Capriati, 15 love.
Out. 15 all.
All.
$30-15. $40-15.
Again, the big hand here. It is double match point for Jennifer Capriati, the number 7 seed out here on court number 1. A solid serve. Capriati with a clench fist.
4-6, 6-3, 6-2.
And so Jennifer Capriati, a solid match, Billy, as she defeats one of the best grass court players, I think, here in Liz Smylie. Were you impressed?
I was impressed in the last 2 sets, but it seems like she has to be at the edge to get going. Yeah. Very much like a Becker. But Jennifer, certainly, when she's playing well, is still tough. But she doesn't seem to have that vibrance that I think she's going to need to win this tournament.
You're still concerned with her mental flexibility, so to speak?
Yes. I mean, because once you get up to those higher level players, you're going to have trouble.
So as both players leave this huge number 1 court, let's have a look now at Jennifer Capriati's draw. She goes against Brenda Schultz, who beat her in the German Open, so she better look out. That will be a tough match for Capriati.
All right. Australia on center court, 6-4, 7-6, and 6-4. Likewise, an easy win on court number 1 for 8th-seeded Andre Agassi, who dropped the first set and looked miserable in doing it against João Cunha Silva of Portugal, and then came on to progressively get better and better until he bageled Cunha Silva in the 4th set. Another victory for Agassi. Richard Krajicek was fantastic in beating Jaco Elting on court 2, 6-4, 6-4, and 6-4. Petr Korda, 11th-seeded from the Czech Republic, beat Brad Gilbert of the United States in 4 sets. Korda moves on in the draw. Aaron Krickstein of the USA got a satisfying victory over Maleeva Washington, the 14th-seeded man. Washington is the most recent seed to go out of the tournament. Steffi Graf, number 1 seeded among the women, blistered Clare Wood of Great Britain on center court 6-2 and 6-1. Arantxa Sanchez Vicario had to emerge from a first-set tiebreaker with Larisa Neiland on court number 2, and then scorched Neiland in the second 6-love. 6-seeded Conchita Martinez of Spain beat Judith Wiesner of Austria in 3 sets. And Elizabeth Smylie fell to Jennifer Capriati, as you just saw, 4-6, 6-3, and 6-2. Finally, Magdalena Maleeva, the youngest of the 3 Maleeva sisters, beat Lori McNeil of the United States in straight sets. Her sister Manuela Maleeva Franier is a surprise loser to Naoko Sawamatsu, 6-3 and 6-3. And Sean Stafford of the United States, former outstanding collegiate player, got an upset over 14th-seeded Amanda Kutzer of South Africa, 6-3 and 6-2. John Lloyd, a chance for some final comments from you. First of all, care to revise your earlier estimation of Andre Agassi as somebody?
Day 3 at Wimbledon. Time for top players to tower over their opponents as second-round play got started. You'll see how #1 Pete Sampras did playing on consecutive days. Does Michael Stich have visions of his '91 championship? Meanwhile, Boris Becker's eyes are on title number 4. Third consecutive Grand Slam, likes it over here on grass. Against Maggie Maleeva today, she was up a break in the first, but got broken right back, John.
Yeah, she's a good grass court player, Lori McNeil. She won the Birmingham event here 2 weeks ago on grass. Missed a few too many errors, though, but started off pretty well, was up a break. A lot of good long points here today.
McNeil serving at 6-5 now in the first set.
This was a big chance here, but didn't take the opportunity. Had a few chances. Could have put this first set away here, and then it started just to go away from her. Magdalena Maleeva really moving well and putting a lot of pressure on her.
So the first set had to go to a tie break. McNeil serving at 7-all.
Yeah, she slipped a few times today. I don't know what was wrong with her grips on her shoes, but she went over 3 or 4 times.
Maleeva won the first set. We're in the second now at 4-all.
There's that slip again.
And it was match point for Magdalena Maleeva. Tough day for Lori McNeil as she gets bumped out of the tournament by the teenager from Bulgaria. May have a little jet lag these days. Another slow start today against Elizabeth Smylie of Australia. Capriati serving first game in the first set.
Yeah, she was struggling today. Liz Smylie was playing very good grass court tennis.
That was a break for Smylie, so Capriati now serving down a break in the first set.
She's not been starting off her matches too well.
Smylie, on the other hand, ranked 104th, looking pretty good on grass.
A double specialist, but she played very well today. Made a lot of good volleys. Capriati started to get a few more returns and get that energy level up.
Broke back there. Smylie was serving here for the set. Smylie went on to win that first set 6-4. Once again, Jennifer had to dig out of a hole. She was in trouble at the very start of the second set as well.
This Smylie dominating at the net yet again.
Smylie with another break. Smylie serving at 2-3 in the second.
This is when Capriati's power started taking over. Liz Smylie started making more mistakes.
She broke back, and Capriati really seemed to settle down as well.
Started going for the ball a lot more now.
So Capriati wins the second set, and we are even at 1 set apiece. In the third, Smylie serving at 2-4, down a break.
Jennifer started using this drop shot a lot more now. Started moving Liz Smylie around, who seemed to get a little bit tired.
Match point. There it is. So Capriati comes from behind for the second day in a row. Up next, the hardest server on the women's tour, Brenda Schultz.
I've played her here before, actually, and she just beat me in a clay court tournament, and I've you know, she's a tough player and she really serves big, and that's important on the grass, so I got to be really ready for that.
Well, Jennifer Capriati got off to a slow start in her first match and in her second match, but she really can't afford to do that against a player like Brenda Schultz, can she?
No, Brenda Schultz has the hardest serve in women's tennis, and if she plays the way she's capable of, she could beat Jennifer Capriati. Could be a very interesting match.
All right, Jennifer Capriati, of course, one of the players who always seems to be in the spotlight. And as Larry Merchant reports, that kind of attention for other players has sometimes led to problems. Steffi Graf showed again exactly how efficient she can be. Clare Wood of England serving at 1-3 in the first set.
Well, this is a typical rally today. Steffi Graf using all parts of the court. Forehand one side, and she comes with the backhand. She's hitting the ball so well, making poor Clare Wood run all over the place.
Their timing has been just about perfect. Wood serving at 1-5 in the first.
Any chance she got, she tried to come into the net, which was the positive way she has to look at this tournament.
Graf goes on to win that first set 6-2. Now in the second, Graf continued to dominate.
She played a super match today. She really was in control of the game.
Still in the second, Steffi Graf serving at 4-1.
Oh, that was a good point for Clare Wood. Finally, she won one.
A little bit for the British fans to cheer about. Steffi said after the French that she really hasn't been playing her best. Do you think she can play any better?
Oh, boy, it'd be incredible if she could. The other players must be getting nervous at that prospect. She played really, really well.
Match point for Steffi Graf. Double fault by Wood, and the top seed moves on easily in just over an hour of play. Defeat Judith Wiesner. Also today, it was the hard-hitting Dutch woman Brenda Schultz defeating Chanda Rubin, the teenager from the United States. Wimbledon veteran Helena Sakova, the number 15 seed, advances to the next round, as does Sean Stafford from the United States as she ousts the number 14 seed Amanda Coetzer of South Africa. Well, it was all business as usual here at Wimbledon for the women today, but that was not the case at Eastbourne last week. 4 sets. Brad Gilbert lost to the number 11 seed Petr Korda. Also today, it was Aaron Krickstein over fellow American Maleeva Washington, the number 14 seed. And Derek Restano, also of the United States, moves on to the next round. On the women's side, the number 11 seed Manuela Maleeva Franier upset by Sawamatsu of Japan. Time now to turn our attention to the point of the day. We return you to the Andre Agassi match. Andre Agassi moving nicely out there today. It did take him 4 sets, though, to complete that match. There were, however, other players who managed to cruise through a little easier. Seed did it in 2 sets today. It was Arantxa Sanchez Vicario against Larisa Neiland. Neiland serving at 1-love. She hasn't had a whole lot of success here since making the 4th round in '88.
No, not a very good record in the Grand Slams. She gave a good account of herself early on, but then started to fade a little bit.
Her on serve in the first. Arantxa known for mixing it up, but it was Neiland who was coming up with some of the best shots early on.
Yeah, well, there's Sanchez Vicario. You can see she's not that confident going into the net. She's got to keep practicing that if she has to have a serious chance of winning this tournament.
First set tiebreak, it was 5-all.
That was the crucial point right there. That cost her the first set tiebreaker.
Sanchez went on to win the first set 7-6, 7-5 in the tiebreak.
Now, after the tiebreaker, it was plain sailing for Sanchez Vicario. She dominated totally.
Sanchez up 3-love in the second here. played with a lot more confidence in the second set.
Day 4 in the Hall of Wimbledon Memories. It begins with nothing more complex than an urge to hit the ball. But of such small beginnings are tennis legends made. And through it all, through the agents and the tabloids and the TV and the turmoil, the trick is to stay in touch with the child who plays the game and dreams of another tomorrow. Today, the Queen of the Silver Plates continues her eternal Wimbledon childhood, while the siren of the South Atlantic searches for the spark of youth slipping away. And lightning in a skinny Balkan bottle strikes again. Another day for elegant champions already fulfilled, looking to further embellish their already impregnable credentials. Another day for champions unrequited, hoping to cheat time and logic long enough for one last gut check, one last run at the big one that forever gets away. Hands across the Atlantic now, everybody, for day 4 at Wimbledon. Mary Jo Fernandez, who made it to the final of the French Open, takes on Ruxandra Dragomir of Romania. Over on court number 2, Michael Chang, survivor of a 5-set first-round match against Paul Haarhuis of Holland, takes on an excellent grass court player, Todd Woodbridge of Australia. A lot of experts see this as a virtually even match. On court number 1, Yvonne Lendl, forever in search of that first and only Wimbledon crown, takes on Arnaud Buch of France. Buch won a grass court tournament a couple of weeks ago. Many experts think that he will knock Lendl out of the tournament today. Martina Navratilova against an old friend and rival, Roz Fairbank-Nidifer. They have met 9 times in their long careers, and Martina has won them all. And Jim Courier, who is, of course, the top male player in the world in terms of Grand Slam championships won, is taking on Ronald Agenor of Haiti. Courier, ranked number 2 in the world, seated 3rd here. On center court, we've already mentioned that Stefan Edberg, seated number 2 here, will be taking on Amos Mansdorf of Israel. They played a thrilling 5-setter here 3 years ago, and Edberg won it on his way to his 2nd Wimbledon championship. Kathy Rinaldi of the United States still playing, and today taking on 4th-seeded Gabriela Sabatini of Argentina on center court. And then Goran Ivanisevic, who survived his 5-set first-round struggle with Jonathan Stark of the USA, takes on Chris Bailey of Great Britain, who is a 6'5" hard server like Ivanisevic.
Zina Garrison-Jackson against Gigi Fernandez. Gigi, certainly one of the best doubles players on the ladies tour. A packed house out here on 14. This is Gigi serving to Zina, the top of your picture. First game, first set. And she misses a backhand volley. John, I love the way Gigi serves that ball. Nice, easy motion. You can tell she's a good doubles player right away.
Yeah, she's a good serve volley player. I like the way Zina Garrison-Jackson, though, took advantage of that second serve there and chipped and came in.
Chance for Garrison here early. Second serve coming up. Oh, yes. Zina knocks off the backhand out here on 14. So we'll be following this match, Jim. Back to you. Two of the better unseeded lady players out here. Zina Garrison-Jackson now leading 5-2 in the first set. And Zina really starting to loosen up, John. Yes. Gigi nicer. Rolled backhand up the line. Billy mentioned that Edberg's a great athlete. I think Zina Garrison-Jackson may be one of the best lady athletes in the draw.
Yes, and grass is her favorite surface. Loves to come to the net. Comes in at every opportunity she can.
Just long. Zina, of course, that great Wimbledon back in 1990, getting to the finals. Losing to Martina, but what a year she had that year right here. Second serve. And a double fault. So Gigi hangs in out here on 14.
Garrison-Jackson leads 5-3.
Garrison-Jackson now leading 5-3. Let's head back to center, Jim.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, players are ready. Thank you.
Look at Gigi Fernandez, and it looks like, John, she might be having some real trouble with that right shoulder.
Yeah, she looks in a lot of pain there. I'm surprised she hasn't called for the trainer, or maybe she's on her way to the court.
The score is 5-4 for Garrison. They're in a changeover here. And suddenly Gigi really massaging that right shoulder. Umpire calls time. Garrison leading 5-4, trying to close out this first set. Gigi certainly taking a lot of extra time there. There she goes, a big hand as she trots over. 5-4 Garrison. Wide. So Zina now 3 points away from the first set, 15 love. You can see the packed standing room to the left there out here on 14, a very popular court. Gigi slides, falls down, and Zina wishes she had that point back, John. All she had to do was drop it in. Instead, it's 15 all. Yes.
Very short second serve there from Zina Garrison-Jackson. That's been one of her problems, I think, over the years. That second serve is very vulnerable. She leaves herself open to be attacked on that shot.
Good lunge. Oh, sensational shot by Zina Garrison on the full run, John. Just rips it up the line.
30 all.
So quick. That's a main asset.
Yeah, and a sign of a great athlete to be able to hit the ball on the full run like that. 30 all now. Garrison 2 points away. Screaming as she hits the tape on that shot. Court 14, John, looking like it's really starting to wear down quickly here in this first week. Set point for Garrison. You can see the worn area behind the baseline there. And it goes long. And so Zina Garrison out here on court 14 tucks away the first set, Jim. 6-4 for Garrison on court 14. Back to you, Lamps.
And with Barry and John, you've been watching first set action between Gigi Fernandez of the United States and her opponent Zina Garrison-Jackson. Fernandez is a member of the world's #1 ranked doubles team along with Natalia Zvereva of Russia. They have won 5 consecutive Grand Slam doubles championships and are seated #1 here. But just a few moments ago, during her match with Garrison-Jackson, an injury timeout for Gigi Fernandez. You can see that Kathleen Stroya, who is a trainer for the Women's Tennis Association, was brought onto the court. Zina Garrison-Jackson waited patiently during a changeover after the first game of the second set as Stroya worked on Gigi Fernandez's right shoulder and arm. Now, this is a woman who is a talented player, but is often bedeviled by injuries. It has hounded her singles career over the years, although obviously hasn't done much to hurt her in doubles. In addition to all the Grand Slam championships, she won, along with her countrywoman Mary Jo Fernandez, the Olympic gold medal last summer. So we'll find out as the day goes on how the shoulder injury, the arm injury, whatever it is going to affect not only Gigi's singles action, but also her chance for winning another Wimbledon doubles championship in partnership with her partner Natalia Zvereva. Right now, let's take you back now to center court to pick up one.
The umpire, unfortunately, Gigi Fernandez out here on 14, unable to continue. Let's have a look at the draw now and see what happens as Zina moves ahead. She will play Mary Jo Fernandez, who beat Dragomir there in round number 3. So it's Mary Jo Fernandez going against Garrison-Jackson in round 3. Let's head back to center court. Lamps, it's all yours.
All right, thanks very much. It's over Angelica Gabaldon of Mexico in straight sets, 6-2 and 6-1. Another American winner, Lindsay Davenport over Barbara Rittner of Germany, 6-love and 7-6. Olivier Delettre of France knocked out a seeded player earlier on in the tournament, but today is beaten himself by Richard Matuszewski of the United States. Sabina Appelmans of Belgium is a winner over Silke Frankel of Germany in straight sets, 6-2 and 6-3. Miriam Ouremans, finalist in a grass court tournament against Martina Navratilova last week, a winner today against Louise Field of Australia. Ouremans playing very well. Natalia Zverev, a doubles partner for Gigi Fernandez, is a winner over Andrea Sternadova today, 6-3 and 6-2. And having seen all those scores, now let's pick up some Yvonne Lindell, McEnroe and Paul Haarhuis and one other player. The latest to have been penalized is Goran Ivanisevic. You saw him survive his 5-set match with Jonathan Stark on court 2 a couple of days ago. In that match, Ivanisevic was greatly belabored by foot fault calls.
Such ugly. Look at it. Can you please? Yeah, just moving somewhere else. I can't see him there. I mean, I'm gonna kill him. Just send him somewhere. Send him to toilet.
Time.
Well, for that outburst and several others, and for the fact that at one other point in the match he used the most vulgar of all vulgarities, the same one for which Haarhuis and McEnroe and one other player were penalized, Ivanisevic was fined by tournament referee Alan Mills $1,000. $1,000 out of Ivanisevic's purse here. Of course, what Goran is looking for is the huge purse that goes to the Wimbledon champion. And if he were to win that, $1,000 wouldn't mean a whole lot, because the players do earn a great deal of money here. Although, as Larry Merchant is about to tell us in this upcoming Wimbledon report, not quite so much this year as you might suspect. Sabatini, seeded 4th this year, behind Graf, Navratilova, and Sanchez Vicario. If you were going only on their record in the tournament here in years past, you might have considered seeding Sabatini ahead of Sanchez Vicario, but the way they've played this year made that impossible. Kathy Rinaldi is now 26 years old, lives in Amelia Island. Ranked 81st in the world now. There was a time, 1981, when she was the youngest player ever to win a match here.
Game first set, Miss Sabatini.
So Gabriela Sabatini
6-2.
easily takes the first set against Rinaldi. And she is up 1-0 on center court. Well, you'll remember that 2 years ago in 1991, Gabriela Sabatini, playing at the absolute height of her talent, came very close to winning this tournament, in fact twice in the final, served for the match against Steffi Graf. At that time, she was coached by Carlos Kiermaier of Brazil. He did a brilliant job of coaching Sabatini. Everybody in the sport said so. But over a period of time, their relationship wore thin, and now at this point, Sabatini has exited from Kiermaier's coaching and is under the tutelage of former fiery American Davis Cupper Dennis Ralston. A lot of people say, Dennis, why would you want to take on a challenge like that? And Dennis offers the logical answer, because the talent is still immense, the potential is still there, and she is not yet an elderly woman by tennis standards. She was one of the great prodigies of her day only 6 years ago. Now let's take a look at some scores from other matches as we wait to go back to tennis action, starting with Australian Jason Stoltenberg, terrific young player who defeated Magnus Larsson of Sweden in 4 sets to move on into the 3rd round. Javier Frano, the left-hander from Argentina, also a winner today over Australian veteran John Fitzgerald in straight sets. Florencia Labat of Argentina defeated Claudia Porvik of Germany in straight sets, 6-1 and 6-4 in the 2nd and 3rd. Gloria Pizzichini of Italy, I hope she keeps winning because I love to pronounce her name, beat Amanda Wainwright of Great Britain, 6-4 and 7-6. And Patricia He of Canada laughed her way past Mana Endo of Japan, 6-3, 6-2, He. Let's go back to center court now and pick up the action in the 2nd set for Gabriela Sabatini against
Story really is the 3rd bar down on percentage of second serve points won. 24% for Rinaldi.
So we'll see now if Sabatini can break back to close out the match.
Law 15.
And there's the first building block.
Because you want to be at about 55% or better.
First service.
It's imperative that Rinaldi get her first serve in. Play that Sabatini's used against Rinaldi all day. Is hitting this short slice drop shot, and Rinaldi's been having a lot of trouble getting to them. And then casually, Sabatini just makes that lob volley. Beautiful.
A product of the still magnificent variety in her game. Her ability to hit lots of different shots from lots of different angles on the court. Double match point now for Gabriela Sabatini. An easy 2nd round victory for the siren of the South Atlantic, and Argentina's Gabriela Sabatini moves on in the draw, where opponent in round number 3 will be Natalia Medvedeva of Russia, the sister of the brilliant 18-year-old star Andrei Medvedev, who is seeded 10th in the men's competition here. And looking down the road, if all were to go according to form, Sabatini's semi-final opponent here would be the winner of a match between Mary Jo Fernandez and Martina Navratilova. That's a long...
Mary Jo Fernandez, the number 5 seed out here against Ruxandra Dragomir from Romania. This is Dragomir serving. 30 love. Ooh, a little slow getting back, John.
Yeah, she's hesitated on that overhead. Not too happy with herself right here. That was a bad mistake.
Triple break point. That was love 30. Big chance for Mary Jo out here on court number 3. Mary Jo, who had that big French championship not too long ago. It'll go long. And so that's the story from court number 3. As Ruxandra Dragomir races over.
Second set by 1 set to
Change
love.
shoes. It is 2-1 Fernandez out here on court number 3. Jim, back to you.
All right, Barry. Let's
match point. It goes wide, and there it is. Game, set, and match to the number 5 seed, Mary Jo Fernandez. And she just got better and better, John.
Yeah, she played very well today, nice and sharp.
Let's have a look at her draw now as Mary Jo moves along. She will go against Zina Garrison-Jackson in round number 3. And so Mary Jo, the 5th seed, out to round 3. Back to you, Jim.
All right, thanks very much, Barry.
Jim, over here on court 1, I'm with the British player who hears a lot of noise over there, John. That's a big match on the center court. Martina up a set, leading 5-4.
Love 15.
Excellent return, and so if Martina can keep playing like she has been, John, looks like she could pull this off over here on court number 1. Ross Fairbanks Niederfer down love 15 to the number 2 seed and 9-time champion Martina Navratilova. Martina kind of teasing her there to serve to the forehand. No, a double fault. So now Martina 2 points away.
Yes, that's Ros Fairbank Niederfer's weakness is a double fault. The second serve, when she gets nervous, when it gets tight, that's where she gives a lot of free points away.
And a solid return off the backhand from Martina. So Martina Navratilova now here on court 1 at triple match point. Oh boy, that's what you're talking about right there, John.
Yeah. I hope she doesn't finish with a double fault.
Very short serve, and there it is. Martina looking very strong out here on court number 1. Wins it in straight sets. Let's have a look now at Martina's draw as she moves into the 3rd round. She plays Patricia He of Canada. Good effort from Martina Navratilova.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have 2 announcements, please. In the interest of security.
Bicycle shorts to the competition a year ago. Today, Cédric Pioline of France, France's #1 ranked player in the absence of the injured Guy Forget, carried this controversy 1 stage further as he arrived for his match on court 13 against Andrei Medvedev of the Ukraine, who is the 10th seeded player in the competition. Pioline was wearing, under his white shorts, gray bicycle shorts. The chair umpire banished him back to the dressing room to change, get rid of the gray bicycle shorts, because in the opinion of the chair umpire, they did not fit with the dress code here. So after a brief break to go back to the dressing room, Pioline came back for his match against Medvedev, who incidentally is seeded number 10. Earlier you heard me describe his sister Natalia Medvedeva as Russian. Both brother and sister regard themselves as Russian, though they live in the Ukraine. So they are officially listed as being from the Ukraine, in their hearts, Denmark. We move forward to find David Wheaton of the United States defeated a talented American who has won grass court tournaments before, Brian Shelton. In the next round, Wheaton faces his former junior tennis adversary, Michael Chang. It will be some kind of match to watch. Henrik Holm of Sweden beat Mark Woodford of Australia. So both Woodford and Woodbridge, the great doubles team partners, go out on the same day. And Natalia Medvedeva I got it. Natalia Medvedeva, sister of Andrei Medvedev, defeated Dahlman in 3 sets to today. Martina Navratilova seeded second, straight set win over Roz Fairbank-Nida for 6-love and 6-4. Gabriela Sabatini, an easy win on center court, 6-2, 6-2 over Kathy Rinaldi of the United States. Mary Jo Fernandez, a winner over Ruxandra Dragomir of Romania, 6-3 and 6-2. Yana Novotná of the Czech Republic, defeating Inez Goroshategui, 6-love, 7-5. She's from Argentina. Anke Huber of Germany seeded ninth, winner over Laura Galarza, 6-4, 6-love. Remember Galarza's unforgettable match against Chris Evert in the twilight of Everett's career here just a few years ago. And Natalie Tozia of France, who was down with a hip injury a couple of days ago and appeared to be in trouble, is fine now. Beat Monique Jaber, 6-1 and 6-2.
Day 4 at Wimbledon, a monumental day as second round action ends. We look for answers. Is the new aggressive Mary Jo Fernandez ready for a Grand Slam breakthrough? Will Martina find Wimbledon immortality? And can Gabby emerge from her tournament title drought? A new aggressive Mary Jo Fernandez has really been hot lately. Fernandez serving at 1-all in the first against Ruxandra Dragomir.
And Harold Solomon wants Fernandez to start using her forehand as a weapon.
Dragomir, 20 years old and just her second Grand Slam, serving now at 1-2 in the first.
Dragomir is very good off the ground. Angle to angle.
Dragomir was in trouble, though, in the first, serving at 1-4. And Fernandez was starting to show that she's no longer a passive baseliner like she used to be.
That's right, Andrea. She knows that she wants to do better here. She's going to have to go to net.
Fernandez did go on and win that first set, 6-3. In the second, Fernandez serving at 3-2. She was a semi-finalist here in 1991. Do you think this might be a breakthrough tournament for her?
Hopefully, with lots of confidence and stay aggressive.
That's it, a straight set win for Fernandez. She advances, no surprises, as she gets ready for Zina Garrison-Jackson.
It's going to be tough. You know, this is definitely her best surface, and she's a very dangerous player. She's very fast, and she's my doubles partner, so we know each other very well. You know, I'm going to have to play well. I'm going to have to be serving and returning well, because she's going to be attacking all the time.
And Mary Jo will be the second Fernandez Zina faces this week. Today she took her shots at Gigi. Fernandez serving first game in the first set. These two know each other real well also, Olympic teammates.
They certainly do. It was a very explosive match because both players go to net and hit very hard off both sides.
Garrison was up early in the first.
Garrison can really cover the net. She's one of the quickest players in women's tennis.
Still in the first, Zina serving at 2-1. Garrison still moving along, up 4-1 in the first. Beaten Gigi 7 times in the past. I guess it helps if you know what to expect. Still in the first, Fernandez serving at 3-5.
Good touch from Gigi Fernandez.
Garrison won the first set, and this is when Fernandez started to have some trouble with her shoulder.
Yes, the WTA trainer, Kathleen Storia, came out to test her shoulder.
She did call for an injury timeout. She tried to continue, though. We're in the second set at 1-all.
Not serving as well at this time in the match. And Zina took advantage of it.
Well, it turns out that Fernandez had a muscle strain in the back of her right shoulder. And eventually The shoulder got to be too much for Fernandez. She had to retire at 1-4 in the second set.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Fernandez is unable to carry on. Game, set, match. This is Garrison-Jackson.
So Zina Garrison heads on now to the third round. Number 4, Gabriela Sabatini hasn't been a hot shot lately, but she was today against American Kathy Rinaldi, semi-finalist in 1985. Sabatini serving now at 1-all in the first. Sabatini's worked on her serve. Does it look better to you, Billy?
A little bit better, but her second serve still suspect. But they had some beautiful rallies from the baseline. And of course, Gabriela was able to show her topspin, her slice. She's so versatile. And her best shot is her backhand down the line.
Still in the first, Sabatini up 4-2.
And again, you see how versatile Gabriela is with her shot making.
Sabatini wins that first set handily, 6-2. Now in the second, 1-all.
And in this match, she really tried to move Kathy Rinaldi up and back.
She did seem to get a little more aggressive in the second set.
Well, that's what Dennis Rawson wants her to do.
Sabatini serving at 5-1 in the second.
Kathy Rinaldi really hung in there, though, throughout the match.
Game is finale.
She's never won a set, though, against Sabatini. Match point now for Gabriela. That's it, 6-2, 6-2 Sabatini. She moves on, hoping to put aside her humiliating and heartbreaking loss to Mary Jo Fernandez at the French Open.
Yeah, right now I think it's in the past. It's going to be inside of me probably forever. But, you know, I learned from it, and it was a little bit hard to overcome that. But now I'm here and thinking about this tournament.
So a burdened Gabriela Sabatini hoping to work her way toward a first tournament title in more than a year. Now let's bring you up to date on some of the other women's scores from today. We begin with the number 8 seed Jana Novotná defeating Inés Gorotachegi in straight sets. Also today, it was the number 9 seed from Germany, Anke Huber, over Laura Galarza of Italy, 6-4, 6-love. And the Brits lost one of their players today, Monique Javer, a loser in straight sets to the number 16 seed Toziat. Also today, an unseeded player, Natalia Zvereva, advances to the next round in straight sets. She is considered to be a dangerous player, especially in the early rounds. Now, at a place like the All England Club, when you talk about Chang sets, Australian Wally Masur advances, a straight set winner over Brett Steven. His countryman, though, Australian Mark Woodford, not as fortunate as he loses to Henrik Holm. And it was the number 2 seed, Stefan Edberg, advancing easily in straight sets 6-3, 6-4, 6-4 over Amos Mansdorf. Now, let's turn our attention to the point of the day. We're going to return you to the Jim Courier match. The cheering that you hear is coming from center court. This is court 1. But the oohs are coming from court 1. In the end, though, Courier did turn out to be the Terminator. And now here's a look at a couple of other last action heroes. For Martina Navratilova, she's played and beaten Roz Neidefer 9 times before, and today would be no different. Navratilova serving at 4-love in the first.
The only time that Roz Fairbank ever got a set off of Martina Navratilova was in 1988 in the quarterfinals when she was 2 points away from winning the match.
Martina was up 5-love in the first. Nice net coverage there, but Martina went on to win the first set 6-love. Chris Everett, Martina's friend and former rival, there to take in the action. Neidefer serving at 2-3 in the second. Double fault. Martina gets the break. It was 4-all in the second with Martina serving.
And the ultimate serve volleyer showed how it's done.
Martina's grass court game seems to look as good as ever, does it?
Yes, she's very intense this year. She's in great shape, and I've never seen her so fired up for years.
Match point, and there it is. Martina with another impressive showing, and she knows she's got a good chance here, even if she's not the top seed.
I still feel that. I mean, I'm one of the favorites to win. I have done it before, and I know how to do it, but I just said that Steffi has to be the big favorite because of how she's been playing and has won it now 4 out of 5 last 5 years, and you know, she knows how to do it. But you know, I have beaten her this year, and I feel that if I play well, that I can do it. I just have to be able to produce the form.
And if the seeds hold up, Martina will get a chance at Steffi in the finals. Don't forget to set your alarm clock tomorrow.
Dance of death. For more than a century now, this sport's aspiring legends have come to the summer cotillion, garbed in white innocence, and ready to rise or fall at the whim of the tennis gods. Today's waltz showcases the sport's American ingenue, sadder, wiser, maybe more dangerous than on 3 previous trips to the dance. And the Fräulein of fully extended forehands, 4 silver plates already, a 5th maybe just days away. Will the silent stiletto of center court pierce the heart of yet another opponent and then toss us the shirt off his back? Will the thunderclap bring down again the deafening roar of his racket? Time now for all good tennis fans to take a seat as we bare our breasts in shameless delight on day 5 at Wimbledon.
Well, this could be an exceptional match. You've got, as you say, Brenda Shorts hits the ball so hard, plays like a man, really, with the way she just crunches every ball. That could be a very, very tough match for Jennifer.
Question surrounding Jennifer: is she interested? Is she engaged? Is she committed to trying to win the tournament? We'll watch that as that match develops today on center court. Here are some of the other matches which will be available during our 5 upcoming hours of live coverage. Starting on court number 13, the Flying Dutchman, 9th-seeded Richard Krajicek, has a relatively easy match, it appears, against Italian Lawrence Tielemans. Then on court number 2, number 1 ranked and number 1 seeded American Pete Sampras against Byron Black of Zimbabwe and the University of Southern California. We'll show you some of that one. Also on the upset